The Citrus Today Show. Erin, Pagan with us from the American Red Cross. Glad to have you back in the studio.
Thank you.
Summertime's here. We're going to talk about a lot of safety things that people need to know about during the summer months. But first, let's talk about an incident that just occurred in Lake County, right next to us, that shows how the American Red Cross jumps in and helps out.
Absolutely.
What occurred?
Actually, there was the Blue Rhino Propane Gas Company. They have a facility there. It's actually in Tavares, and so they had an explosion there. Not sure what the cause was. It was about 11 o'clock last night. Actually, multiple explosions, as you can imagine, at a propane gas company. And there were some individuals who were working the night shift. They've all been accounted for, but there are some who are hospitalized. And of course, there are lots of homes around there, even though it's a rural area. And so we were able to work with one of the local churches that we already had a relationship with, and we opened a shelter. And so many of the families who were evacuated had a safe place to go. It was in the middle of the night, and I'm sure lots had children. So American Red Cross stepped in. We got our volunteers to help open the shelter, let the families come and stay there until about 2:30 when they were able to go back to their homes.
Wow.
So, and certainly first responders who are out there for multiple hours fighting fires, if it's wildfires or whatever it might be, Red Cross comes out and we do canteening. So we come out and bring them water and snacks and whatever they need, meals, so that they're able to continue to do their job, and we take care of them while they're taking care of others.
Well, that could happen anywhere.
Absolutely.
And it could happen right in our neighborhood as well. So this is always something to keep in mind, and a reason why volunteers are so important to American Red Cross, because it's volunteers that jump in, and of course you have coordinating staff that coordinates what goes on, but it takes a lot of volunteers to take care of that many people in a small, what we would think of as a small incident, but really to a community like Tavares, it's a large incident.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we always need volunteers, and so especially people who are retired and who have some extra time to give. We want people with all schedules, all skills, all abilities, all ages. There is a place for everyone at Red Cross, and because everybody has so many different schedules, it takes a lot of people to be able to do what we do on a daily basis. We have an average of 3 responses per day in this region, so we are busy all the time. We are not just waiting for the big hurricane to come. And so for people to come out and help in the office, help with events, we have so many requests for us to come out and talk to communities, either at community events or festivals or health fairs, or to come talk to an HOA or a school or something. And so if people like talking to other people, come learn about Red Cross, get all of our safety tips, and you're able to go out with our community outreach group and help us fulfill all those requests for events.
I was just watching some recent footage from the Hurricane Andrew when it hit South Florida. Devastating destruction that it had. We've been very lucky in the Central Florida area that we haven't had anything like that happen. But we say, that could happen. It could happen anywhere along the coast of Florida any year because of the way things are. We're in the summer months, we're in the hurricane season, and that means that we have a lot of lightning storms. And at one point, Tampa was considered the lightning capital of the world. I say that's only because they don't measure it here in Central Florida in our neighborhood, because we certainly have a lot of lightning strikes here. That's one of the things we want to talk about, right?
Absolutely. So Florida is certainly the lightning capital state of the United States. It's also the thunderstorm capital of the United States. And so we have lots of severe weather that doesn't actually turn into a real hurricane or a tropical storm, and everyone needs to stay safe. So we have lots of things happening outdoors during the summer, and so keeping our families safe, keeping our neighbors and our seniors safe is really important. So the main thing is to come to redcross.org/mid-Florida, and you'll be able to access our disaster library of all these wonderful checklists. So we have a power outage checklist, we have a thunderstorm checklist, we have all of these great resources and tools, and you can print them at home on just 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. You don't have to have a color printer, and these are wonderful to put up on the refrigerator and actually have some action items, some reminders. We live in Florida for so long, we take a lot of it for granted. We,
yeah.
we take advantage of it. And so to be able to have these pieces to remind you, how long, if your power goes out, how long is your food still safe to eat? Staying away from windows and doors during lightning, not using electronics, making sure you have that hand crank or battery powered radio, because we do rely so much on our electronics. When the power goes out, we don't even have a place to plug in our cell phone to charge it. And speaking of that, be careful. Lots of folks like to go out to their cars and try to charge their cell phone. Well, make sure you have the garage door up, because all of a sudden you've taken one problem of a thunderstorm, and now there are issues of carbon monoxide poisoning. There are issues of people using camping stoves too close to being in the house, using generators too close to a home, those gas fumes, using any sort of heating element that didn't require power, but too close in an area where you shouldn't. Now you might have a home fire. So many things to think about, to be really careful, really thoughtful, and in case you might miss something, Red Cross wants to be there to give you the information you need with these great checklists.
There you go. One of the things that happens to people today, we have these rechargeable batteries that we put into radios and flashlights and so forth. Well, that's great. I mean, as long as you have power to recharge them. So it's always good to have a good supply of regular batteries on hand, right?
Exactly. And that goes back to our disaster kit. We've talked about that before, but a lot of folks are just pulling that out when they hear a storm, a named storm is, on the horizon. Well, go through that kit, because if you built it last year, you might need to update some food that's in it. You might need to update some batteries that are in it. So every year, it's nice that you've already built the foundational, bag, but now go in and make sure everything is up to date.
There you go. Now, again, this is all available on the web. Mm-hmm. They can go to your site for the American Red Cross and download it. If you don't want to worry about trying to find the redcross.org/mid/Florida, just go to Red Cross Florida on Google or some search engine, and it will pop up.
Absolutely.
And then you can get all kind of resources from there. But locally, we have a Red Cross that people can rely on too.
Yes, absolutely. There's one right here in Lecanto, and of course we also have one in Marion County, and we actually have 10 offices in our 13 counties. So we really try to have great coverage. In each of those offices, though, we're looking for local volunteers. We want more volunteers coming there for trainings, for classes, for all the things that we have to offer. So again, we need volunteers.
And we'll talk about that some more when we continue. Stay with us, everybody, right here on Citrus Today.
you only know in a fire to get out, to escape. And now, okay, you're outside and you're safe. What do you do now? And that's where the Red Cross came in. We ran out of the house just wearing our pajamas. And at that point, just to even have a toothbrush that I could call my own was so important. You know, it just makes you feel like a person again.
There you go, a nice little illustrative story about somebody who had a fire in their home, had damage, and you see this all the time. That and flood damage causes a lot. I was checking the news this week. Two guys were parked in a truck, and a tree right next to where their truck was parked just finally gave up the ghost and fell on the truck. Fortunately, neither of them were injured, but the truck was totaled.
Yes.
And so emergencies happen all the time. It's best to be prepared. We were talking about you have several offices throughout the Central Florida area here, and they're always standing by, ready in case of emergency or crisis that comes up. Again, I encourage people, get as much information as you can before an emergency takes place, and prepare yourself ahead of time. Living on the coast as we do in Citrus County, boating mishaps with lightning are frequent in the state, and one of the worst places you can be, two of the worst places, is in a boat during a lightning storm or on a golf course.
Yes.
Because you're the highest thing out there in a lot of cases. And that's where lightning will more than likely go to, right?
Absolutely. Lightning is a killer. That's all there is to it. And lots of folks, they see it off in the distance. They don't realize how fast the storms travel. And then all of a sudden the lightning is right there upon wherever they are. So normally people just wait too long to get indoors. They think, oh, the storm is going to pass. It's going quickly. And, you know, we're just going to hang out until the storm passes. Instead, hang out inside. You know, go somewhere safe, get off the water, get off the golf course, take a break. Don't press it. You know, it's really kind of just, it's testing Mother Nature, which we don't ever want to do. And so to keep everyone safe, come inside, take a break, and wait till the storm passes. Don't take chances.
That's the greatest advice that you could hand out. Don't take a chance. Again, we remind you, if you have a supply kit put together, make sure as always that it's up to date, that your batteries are in good shape, food hasn't expired, different things like that. You offer some great little checklists for building kits if you don't already have one. But if you have that, there's other lists that need to be prepared ahead of time also, right?
Absolutely. You know, we've spoken before about how to go to a shelter, how to evacuate to a shelter, and so a checklist for that, making sure you know what to take with you, all your medications and things to be comfortable if you need to evacuate. You know, like the folks who may have gone to the shelter last night during the plant explosion, to think about what to take in the middle of the night when you're probably asleep, when you were awakened by authorities that you need to get out in order to be safe. And so even a lot of folks have a little small travel rolling suitcase kind of already packed. And so should they need to get out very quickly, it would have some toiletries, an extra set of clothes, maybe a few snacks, and then, like I said, some of the things for the kids, coloring book and crayons or some books or things like that. And so should you need to get out very quickly, you're not scrambling trying to remember what should I take with me.
One of the things that we have talked about in the past is we get a certain perception of what a emergency shelter setup is like, because we see it on the news, we see cots and we see all this stuff. That's not always the way it is, though.
Correct. That's a long-term shelter. That's for people who are going to be out maybe weeks, and that's certainly what we saw in the news with Superstorm Sandy. But for a very quick evacuation for anywhere from a couple of hours, like last night, up to maybe 3 days, it's going to be a community center, a public school, and it's just a safe building to go to, but it is an empty building, so you have to go